Uh, Thank you. Thank you for joining and welcome to today's webinar, What to Do When Your Client Tells You She Wants to Start a Nonprofit. Today we're going to talk about how you can add even more value to your client relationships and get more high net worth referrals in a way that you probably didn't even know was possible. Now, how many of you would like to add as much value as possible to your client relationships? And how many of you love it when you add so much value that your clients refer you to their friends and family? Gotta admit, that is definitely one of my favorites. And how many of you are curious about how you can give back just by doing your job? I'm Kirsten Bunch, and I work with professionals who have reached a point in their careers where they're feeling pulled to give back and want to go beyond simply donating money or volunteering, but aren't exactly sure what to do or how to get started. Through my one-of-a-kind Changemaker mentorship, I help people turn their ideas for how to create better communities into nonprofits, social enterprises, and foundations. My goal is to help my clients help as many people as possible. So we're going to get started. I just want to check the chat box real quick. Okay, so we are good. Okay, so let's get started. My promise to you is that what you learn today will help you add even more value to your client relationships by being able to give your clients critical information, advice, and support at a time when they are seeking answers and guidance to an issue very close to their hearts, their legacy. And I know it's a big promise because I'm sure you already move mountains for your clients and you go way beyond the industry norm as far as adding value. But I'm here because I've heard from my clients that when it came to their legacy, to giving back, they have been steered in the they have been steered in the wrong direction by trusted advisors, which left them resentful and frustrated and like they wasted valuable time and money. So now you might be saying, wait, hold on, this is how we're starting. She's saying that I'm steering my clients in the wrong direction. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that I've seen how some basic but critical information and tools can help advisors not only help their clients figure out how to leave a legacy, it can help them live a legacy. And as I'm sure you already know, when you help your clients create the life that they want, they'll stick with you for a very long time and refer you to their friends and family. So I got a call. One of the reasons why I decided to do this webinar is because I got a call from a financial advisor the other day who heard me speak at an event in New York a couple weeks ago. And she told me, listen, I've got this client who I've been working with for 15 years. And yesterday we got on the phone for our quarterly checkup, and she told me that she's retiring at the age of 55 from her executive position at a bank. And she wants to put her money and skills to use to give back to her community. So the advisor told me that she talked to her client about increasing her contribution to her donor advised fund and possibly making a significant gift to a charity. And this is what her client told her in response to that suggestion. No, I don't want my legacy to be that I wrote a big check. I want my legacy to be that I dug into a problem and played my part in finding a solution. I've put all my time and energy into my career for the past 35 years, and I know that a month after I leave, all of my contributions will be forgotten. I've still got time to contribute in a way that will have a ripple effect in my community and that I can hold up as my legacy. It's pretty powerful stuff. So the advisor told me that frankly, she was at a loss She wanted to help her client and was worried that her client might take her money to a philanthropic advisor if she didn't find a way to help. But she didn't know how to point her client in the right direction. And honestly, I'm having this type of conversation more and more these days, both with financial advisors, but also with my clients who work with financial advisors. I've worked with a financial advisor in the past who did not get me at all. And so I want to do something to help advisors understand how to help their clients when they tell them they want to give back and want to go beyond simply donating to charity or volunteering their time. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my personal story with that in a minute. But that's why I'm happy you're here today. I'm happy you've taken the time to join me on this webinar. And maybe you aren't sure whether you want to work with your clients on their legacy. And maybe it pushes you outside of your area of expertise, which is totally understandable, and maybe outside of your comfort zone. Or maybe you're afraid that helping your clients figure out how they can leave a legacy means you risk losing assets. Listen, I get it. So all I'm asking is just extract the value of this webinar. And I'm going to give you a lot to think about, and I'll give you some concrete ways you can add value for your clients when they ask you for help building their legacy and giving back. So I'm going to ask you to please pay attention and give me your focus. I give a ton of value, so you want to take this seriously, because it can really help you make powerful change in the lives of your clients and in their communities. And it can help you give back in a way that you may not have thought of doing. So I'm asking you to step up, if only for the next 40 minutes or so. Because if you're serious about adding even more value to your client relationships, this is going to help you. And get as much out of it as you can, because I'm really serious about helping people make change. I had a call with a high net worth wealth advisor in I think it was California a few weeks ago. And 5 minutes into our conversation, after I told him the kind of work that I do, he told me about 2 clients who have told him they are thinking about starting nonprofits. And one of them, and I think this scared him a little bit, one of them told him they were going to talk to a philanthropic advisor in another firm. Sorry, I'm looking at the... Marcel, yeah, you have permission to record if you want to record this. And I'm also recording, and so I will send everybody the link to the recording. Okay, so, I ruined my funny slide here. All right, so maybe... what was I going to say? So what if I were to tell you that every year, 10% of your clients will leave because you don't address their individual needs? In fact, your customers are more likely to leave because you don't give them personalized attention than if you have a poor investment track record. Sorry, one second. I just need to mute. I'm getting feedback on somebody. If everybody could mute, I thought I had muted everybody, but if you're not muted, if you could just go ahead and mute yourself, I'd really appreciate that. All right. Okay. So what was I saying? So what if I were to tell you that every year 10% of your clients will leave you because you don't address their individual needs? And I can tell you personally that this is exactly what I did. I had an advisor in Connecticut who I really liked, and he was a great guy. He called me every quarter. He did quarterly rebalances of my portfolio, and he sent me a really helpful and informative newsletter. And he even gave me pretty good returns, which is definitely important. He did all of these things right, and I still left. Why? Because when I told him, and this was a few years ago, when I told him I wanted to match my investments with my values via SRIs and that I had a dream to start my own nonprofit one day and wanted to plan for that, he dismissed my ideas. And I lost trust that he understood me and cared about what I wanted. And I saw clearly that he had only one way of working with his clients and that he could not solve my problem. So I found a new advisor who not only understands my values, he also took the time to understand my desire to give back and even introduced me to a mentor to help me fulfill my dream. It was pretty amazing. So the bottom line is, if you can't give your clients what they need, they'll find someone who can. So write this down. Loyalty means nothing if you can't solve your clients' problems. And it's not always simply a question of managing their money anymore. I get calls and emails every day from people who have made their money, have built their careers, and now they are asking, what's next and how do I give back? They are searching for answers and guidance and are looking for that guidance in places where they have already established trust. And, there are very few people that are doing the work that I'm doing, helping mid-career professionals become change makers. So it's not like your clients can Google, hey, how do I find fulfillment by leaving a legacy? And get a list of people that can help them with that. So if you can help them at least get started, you'll be helping solve your client's problem. And what happens if you solve your client's problem? They love you, right? And legacy is a big deal, especially for those people who have moved mountains and built empires in their careers, but they still feel like something's missing. One of my clients booked a free discovery call with me, and it turns out she is a political powerhouse in the United States. And I'm not going to give her name because I didn't ask her permission to tell her story. I probably should. And she told me, listen, I'm 67 years old and I'm calling you because I'm ready for the next act in my life. And I want to do something great for my community. I want to give back in a very special way. And this is a woman whose resume is so impressive. She's helped people through her career and her life in ways that most of us can only dream of. So for her to be thinking about her next act is impressive in itself. And she said to me, I measure the value of life as a progress being done. And she's not done with her legacy, even at the age of 67. She's looking to write the next chapter. When I first talk to my clients about their dreams and ambitions of creating change in their communities, of giving back, the word legacy sneaks into our conversation about 80% of the time. Kirsten, I want to leave a legacy. Kirsten, I don't want my legacy to be that I made money for a big corporation. Kirsten, I want my kids to see that I did something with great meaning in this world. And there is a simple, I went too fast. Hold on a sec. And there's a simple psychological reason for your desire to leave a legacy: ego. Your sense of self-worth and self-importance pushes you to think beyond your lifetime and imagine how you'll be remembered. You can even think of it as a desire for immortality, knowing that after your death, your imprint on the world will last. It's knowing that your life matters, that it has a point beyond today. And legacy, if you didn't know this, actually is a way to combat the fear of future irrelevance or current irrelevance, of the feeling of being or becoming nothing. And this is a big thing when people are thinking about leaving their jobs. It's a big thing in retirement, but also for people who are mid-career and thinking that they want to do something else. They're afraid that they'll lose that title and then they'll become irrelevant. And this is a big issue for a lot of my clients. And keep in mind, my clients are nowhere near being irrelevant. They're incredibly relevant. But their fear is real, and giving back, making a difference, makes them feel relevant. So my point is, Your client's relationship with legacy is a deeply emotional one. And if you can help them figure out their next act, how they give back, they will be grateful. But here's the good news. Even if you don't specialize in giving back or philanthropic advising, you don't have to switch your career here, but you still solve your clients' problems by providing them with some basic information and referring them to someone that can help them figure out their next act and live their legacy. They will stay with you. You will become their co-creator in the building of their legacy and in helping them change their lives and their communities. And that, let me tell you, that is powerful. That creates loyalty and referrals. Now, how many of you have had a client talk to you about how she'll give back or wants to give back? And how many of you have had a client tell you that she's thinking about starting a foundation, a nonprofit, or a business that will do good in their community? And how many of you have had a client talk to you about legacy, what legacy he'll leave? If you answered no to these questions, I'm going to give you a tip. Ask your clients if they have thought about what imprint they want to leave on the world. And then ask them this question. If you had a magic wand, what would you make happen? Of course, some of your clients are going to say, I'd make a yacht appear, or I'd buy a vineyard in the south of France and retire. But many will say, I'll help kids in my community so they won't be bullied. Or I'll start an animal shelter so dogs and cats won't be neglected anymore. Or I'd create a community bakery and employ refugees who need jobs. These are all examples of ideas that my clients have brought to me. And what if, instead of saying, hey, that's cool, how nice of you, like you're such a good person, you could give them suggestions and tools that would help them fuel their dream. But here's the thing. Most people have great ideas, but they are too afraid to do anything with their idea. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of taking the wrong step stops them. It stops a lot of us, right? But here's what they're also afraid of: regret. And often, all it takes is for one person to say, hey, tell me about that, to help them see that their dream of a better community can become a reality. You can be part of that just by doing your job. You can not only create more loyal client relationships, you can also play your part in making a difference. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So here's what we're going to cover today. 3 foolproof ways to better serve your clients who want to go beyond donating to charity. The most critical piece of advice that you should give to your clients who want to up their give back game beyond volunteering and just giving money. And 5 ideas to share with your clients to help them figure out their legacy or their path to giving back and making a difference. And I want you to get as much as you can out of this webinar, and I promise to give you a way to work with me or to talk to me to help you add even more value to your client relationships. And I'm going to give you some free tools to use with your clients when they tell you that they want to give back and want to create their legacy. These tools are a good basis for conversation. And feel free to use them and with your clients. Some of the financial advisors I work with incorporate these tools into the financial planning they do with their clients. So my issue mapper will help your clients narrow in on the issue they want to focus on. The Skill Shifter mini course is great for people who are thinking about leaving one career and starting something else, but they don't know what, and they don't. I get a lot, of comments that I've been doing this one thing my whole career. Like, I'm an accountant. I've been doing accounting in my whole career, and I don't want to do that anymore, but I don't know what skills that are relevant to doing something else. And so the Skill Shifter worksheet and mini course, it's really mini, will help your clients with that. And then 5 critical things you should do before starting a nonprofit. I cannot tell you how many people come to me saying, I went to a lawyer, I registered a nonprofit, and now what? So definitely stick around to the end to get these tools. Let me just tell you a little bit about me. I spent 20 years raising more than $20 million for nonprofits and starting and managing social change programs in 10 countries. And I loved it. I loved building programs and finding money for them. I love traveling the world, 50 plus countries, and meeting people that I would have probably never met if it weren't for my job. I was proud of my work, and boy, did I have fun. I couldn't have imagined a better job. But despite the fact that I was incredibly grateful to be able to do this work, I wanted to do more. I left my role as a fundraiser 2.5 years ago because I found that not all of my clients were happy simply donating money. They also wanted to do more. And I wanted to help them create even greater transformation in their communities. And so I had an idea to start a program where people could grow their ideas in a creative, supportive environment. But you know what I did? I sat on my idea because I was afraid to start. I didn't know what to do first. I didn't know what it was supposed to look like. And I felt restless and frustrated. But slowly, I started to tell people about my idea. And one day, I was on a check-in call with my financial advisor. He's in Colorado, and he started our call the way he always does by asking me, "So, what are you up to these days, and what's getting you excited?" So even though I was really fearful to share my idea with him because I remembered my last experience when I told my advisor my dreams, I took the leap and I told him. And you know what he said? "That's really freaking cool. Tell me more about that." Boom. I loved him for that question, and I still love him for that question. And I thought to myself, look, if this guy who I trust with my everything else goes wrong, my Costa Rica house fund thinks that this is a good idea, then maybe I have something here. And so I started. I sat down and mapped out my idea. And it's been hard. I mean, anybody who's grown their own business knows that it's hard. And I'm going to be real with you about that. I was filled with self-doubt and sometimes sometimes I still am. But then I focus on the people I can help create change. And I focus on my clients who are creating change. I focus on the kids who need help, the communities who need healing and protection. Because I have a mission and a purpose, and I don't want anything to stop me. And I'm not going to miss out on my chance to help people transform lives. So I kept building, and I got help. I got a mentor. I found a community to help me push my idea kicking and screaming into the light. And now, not only am I helping people turn their world-changing ideas into action and impact, I'm speaking and publishing a book to inspire people to take action, to live their legacy and change their communities. So let me just quickly introduce you to a couple of my clients so you can get an idea of the kind of work that I do. This is Suzanne Kapenjik, who started an organization in the Bronx called EdSnaps, and she's working with high school age girls to help them move towards college careers and then careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. She's a neuroscience who was a professor and is now doing this really important work in the Bronx. And then Stephanie, who's in the Boston area, is helping stay-at-home moms relaunch their careers in the nonprofit sector, the social impact sector, while helping nonprofits gain access to talent, skills, and experience that they really need. Okay, so now let's get into the 3 topics I'm going to share with you today that will help you add even more value to your client relationships so that they love you and tell the whole world how amazing you are. And you play a part in creating healthier and safer communities. It's definitely a win-win. So chapter 1 I mentioned is 3 foolproof ways to better serve your clients who want to go beyond simply donating to charity or volunteering and do something more. So now many of your clients are probably already giving to charity in some way, either with their time or their money, or in many cases, in some cases, both. And you probably don't need me to tell you how to advise them on the best way to donate to charity. In fact, you could probably teach me a few things. And there are plenty of organizations that help people volunteer, and this volunteer match is one of them. But how do you help your client that comes to you and says, like the example I used in the beginning of this webinar, I don't want my legacy to be that I wrote a big check. I want my legacy to be that I dug into a problem and played my part in finding a solution. So this is what you do. First, ask them what impact they want to have in the world. That may seem like a really, really simple question, but people often don't take the time to think about that. And it's a powerful question, right? What impact do I want to have in the world? Oh yeah, like maybe I could do something about the dangerous road conditions in my town, or the flooding, or maybe I could help girls or something like that. So not everybody, most people don't think they have the power to do anything. And so the first step is really thinking about the impact they want to have in the world. And tell them not to start with what house they're going to build. And I'll explain that in a minute. Start with the lives they're going to change. What is the change they want to see in their community? And however they define community. For some people, that's their neighborhood. And for some people, they have people in community all over the world. So what change do they want to see in their community? And encourage them to get to know the issues they want to focus on. Remember, to help someone with a problem, you need first to understand their problem. If you jump in to help without taking the time to understand the situation, your desired impact may very well fall short. And this might seem obvious, but ask any emergency relief organization that receives tons of unusable donated goods by very well-intentioned people. I always encourage my clients to learn about the problem they're trying to fix from all sides. What piece of the puzzle are they missing? What do they need to understand better? What voice are they not hearing? A few years ago, I met a woman, Diane, in the lobby of a hotel in Guatemala City. She looked really sad, so I asked her if there was something I could do to help. And Diane looked at me and she kind of paused and then told me that she was embarrassed and sad and she just wanted to go home to Florida. So I asked her, Diane, what happened? And she told me that at her church, she'd heard about a young woman in a village in Guatemala who had a disability and couldn't walk. And wanting to do something to help, Diane raised $400 from her friends at church to buy a wheelchair for the young woman. And now she explained to me that the people who go to her church don't have a lot of money, and it was a big deal for them to help someone they didn't even know. That day, during a mission trip to Guatemala, Diane brought the wheelchair to the young woman's home. And the young woman smiled and thanked her. And then she said, I can't use this, I'm sorry. See, what Diane discovered is there were no paved roads in her village, and the path to her house wasn't passable in a wheelchair. Diane hadn't taken the time to understand what the young woman needed before she acted. She told me, not only did I look really insensitive in front of this young woman who I really wanted to help, but now I have to go back to my friends at church and tell them what happened. So my point is, encourage your clients to do their research and not just to jump into something. All right, tip number 2 or point number 2 is seek clarity about how your clients want to show up. Do they want to live a legacy or leave a legacy? Do they want to, and both are great things to do, by the way. Do they want to quit their jobs or dedicate their retirement to their legacy? Do they want to be hands-on, like running an organization? Or are they more interested in putting some money towards helping change makers in their communities do the actual work? Not everybody wants to be that hands-on, and that's totally fine. I have to tell you, I'm really excited. I'll share this with you. I'm really excited about a strategy session that I have scheduled for in a couple weeks in mid-April. I'm working with a general insurance agency in New Jersey who wants to build a foundation as a way to give back to the community that has given them so much. But the GA doesn't want to just, and his team doesn't want to just write a check. They want to be intentional about how they give back and how they help their community. So we're going to work together to figure that out. And I just can't tell you how much I love this stuff. I love doing things like this. So I'm really excited about that and just wanted to share that with you. All right. So number 3, give them, I forgot to write the text here, give them ideas for options for putting structure around the way they approach their legacy. Just like a toolbox, and I'll repeat that since the text isn't there, give them ideas for options for putting structure around the way they approach their legacy. Just like a toolbox has many tools, change making has many tools too. Here are some possible structures, and you may not know about some of these, or you may know all of them. So nonprofit, we're all pretty familiar with nonprofits, and there are different types of nonprofits, but foundations. There are operating foundations who actually operate programs, or there's simple grant-making foundations who just give grants to organizations that are doing the work, and people, individuals. Social enterprise uses commercial strategies to maximize improvements in human and environmental well-being. And this may include maximizing social impact alongside profits for external shareholders. Social enterprises can be a nonprofit, a for-profit, or hybrid. And I'll give you an example of a social enterprise in a minute. A fiscal sponsor is a formal arrangement in which a 501c3 public charity sponsors a project that may lack tax-exempt status. And this alternative to starting your own nonprofit allows you to seek grants and solicit tax-deductible donations under your sponsor's exempt status. And this, a fiscal sponsor, and you can share this with your clients, is a good idea when you are, maybe you're just starting a series of workshops and you just want to see how it works, and you need to get some donations to help you do that, but you don't want to go through the process of starting a nonprofit and registering it, and you don't want to wait for that because sometimes it could take a year or longer to make that happen. So fiscal sponsor is a good option. And then there's an unincorporated initiative. No one says you have to have a formal structure in the beginning or ever really. And there are ways around having that formal structure. And then B corporations. B Corps are for-profit companies certified by the nonprofit B Lab to meet rigorous standards of social and environmental performance, accountability, and transparency. And you're seeing more and more B corporations these days. One of the big ones that you may have heard of is Warby Parker, the eyeglass company. Then you can also do a program within an existing organization. As you know, there are a lot of organizations out there. So you may have an idea for a program that is a great add-on to what they're already doing. So that's an option. So this is my former colleague and boss, Dr. Jordan Cassillo, and he's the founder of Vision Spring. Vision Spring brings affordable eyewear to underserved communities in the developing world. So they work a lot in India and in Bangladesh and some countries on the continent of Africa. And they're considered a social enterprise. They have a hybrid revenue model. So they get money, they get philanthropy from donors, and from foundation and corporate donors and from some individuals. But they also charge for their eyeglasses, but they charge a price that is very affordable for the people who need the glasses. So often $1 to $2, maybe sometimes up to $10 for their eyeglasses. And so to date, they have distributed over 4 million pairs of eyeglasses and have created $800 million in economic impact. $800 million. And if you're wondering, well, how do they create that economic impact? Think about if you are say you're a tailor, and if anybody's over 40, you know that your vision, your near vision starts to go, and you can't see things without reading glasses. And in a lot of countries, people don't have access to reading glasses, and that's exactly what Vision Spring provides for them, is access to reading glasses so that they can continue to work and continue to earn money and create economic impact. So this may, those 3 steps, it may seem like very simple steps to take your client, to take and use with your clients. And you might be thinking, yeah, I don't know, my client already knows this stuff. But here's the thing, they probably don't. Or if they do already know, hearing you ask them these questions and give them this advice will make the dream of their legacy and their idea to give back come alive in their hearts and minds. So what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself this one question. What if I could change one person's life? And remember, your goal is to become a co-creator. That doesn't mean that you're going to help them design their legacy. I mean, you can if you want to, but you are going to show them that you are invested by asking them questions that they may not even have asked themselves yet. And remember, they don't have a lot of places to turn to. As I mentioned, there's not a lot of people that are doing the work that I'm doing. All right, so let's review. So the 3 things you want to think about in chapter 1 is what impact the things that you want to ask your clients is what impact do they want to have in the world? How do they want to show up? And then you want to introduce them to the structural options. So nonprofit is not the only structural option. And so, chapter 2, the most critical piece of advice that you should give to your clients who want to up their give back game. Ready? I've been given some hints around this, so you might have already guessed it, but here it is. Don't start a nonprofit right away. This should not be your client's first step. And please don't send them to an attorney to draw up the paperwork as the first step. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, what? I thought we were talking about helping people, changing the world, etc. Aren't nonprofits the way to do that? Yes, but not necessarily, and not necessarily the only way. As you saw a couple of minutes ago, there are many options these days to make a difference, and nonprofits are no longer the only option. And I tell you this because a lot of people call me because they've already paid an attorney to set up a 501c3, and now they have absolutely no idea what to do with it, how to move forward, or they also find out it's not the right structure. Some people find out that it's not the right structure to house what they want to do. And in the end, a nonprofit or a B Corp or these other options are just a legal structure. And there are many ways to give back without forming a nonprofit, especially in the beginning when you don't quite know what you're doing. So keep that in mind. This is an example. So when Terry Dankovich and her business partner started Folia Water, which is a very cool company, by the way, you should check it out. And their business is bringing a paper-based water filter to the world. To help people in places where they don't have access to clean water. It kind of works like a coffee filter. You just pour the dirty water in, it comes out, it's clean, you can drink it. But they spent the first couple of years, including a lot of time and money, starting a nonprofit. Then an attorney helped them understand, a specialized attorney, helped them understand that a for-profit B corporation would be a better option. Choosing the wrong option can cost you valuable time and money, and it costs your clients valuable time and money, and can definitely affect the impact that you have. All right, so moving on to chapter 3. 5 ideas to share with your clients to help them figure out their legacy. So now you have some information and suggestions that you can share with your clients that will not only show that you're interested in their desire to give back and build their legacy, you will help add spark to their ideas that they have to make their community a better place. And by the way, let me just add, healthier communities lead to more financially secure communities, which leads to more assets that need to be managed, right? See where I'm going with this? But here's the thing. What if your clients are just starting on their legacy journey? Here are some ideas, I'll go quickly through these, but here are some ideas you can offer them to get started. Do a research project. And this seems so simple, but you would seriously be amazed how people don't think of this. Like, pretend you're back in school, and if you're interested in an issue, say saving rhinoceros or something like that, and you're interested in that, do a research project and research it and talk to people from all different sides of the issue so that you're more informed, and then you can see where you can fit into the problem, where you can fit into the solution. Start a social impact passion project. I love this example. So a woman I know was tired of hearing people say like really bad things about refugees in her community. She lived in a community that accepted a lot of refugees. But a lot of the people, even in her church and other places, were saying some pretty nasty things about them. And she thought it was probably just based on a misunderstanding or not knowing anything about this population. So what she did is she took her camera and she went around and started hanging out with the communities, with people in the refugee community, and got to know them and documented her conversations via story and photographs. And then she did a roadshow kind of thing to different churches and community centers around her state, and brought what she had learned to people in a way to create empathy and understanding of the newly settled refugees in her community, and it was powerful. And the result was that people started to become more welcoming of the different people, and there was more conversation that happened from the people. Happened with the refugees and the people who were originally from that community. So yay, passion projects. I love passion projects. Host a series of issue dinners. So these are interesting. They're also called Jeffersonian dinners, and you can just look up Jeffersonian dinner and you can find the instructions for how to do this. But basically you pick an issue and you invite a bunch of people to dinner, usually, no more than 10. And you have a respectful conversation about the issue. And the key here is don't just invite all the people that are your friends that all think the same way. Invite people that have different opinions. And the key to this, and you'll find the rules, if you look up Jeffersonian dinner, you'll find the rules. You have to actively listen and let people talk, and not just think about whatever your counter argument is going to be. But it's fascinating to it's actually really fascinating what you learn when you just stop and listen to people. And then write a book or a blog. So if you're interested in how tourism affects different countries and affects the conservation, the environment of different countries. And I have an example of a woman by the name of Kira the Explorer, who I highlighted in my Ordinary Extraordinary Changemaker series, and who will be in my book. Anyway, so she started this series where she travels to different places and gives tips to people on how they can better protect the environment when they travel to Costa Rica or Namibia or all that. I can't remember all the places she's gone. So, and in writing a book, I know it sounds like a lot, but it actually will. It's a great way to help you learn, and it's a great way to focus your energy if you're not quite ready to leave your job or leave your business or something like that. And then fifthly, you can attend philanthropy conferences and listen to speakers. So this is one that's happening, Conscious Capitalism, which is happening in Texas at the end of April, beginning of May. And I haven't actually been to this one, but what I hear is that it is really cool and really worth going to. And I also should say that I love to speak. I love to motivate people to do the work of becoming change makers. And so I have a few different things I talk about. And one is, how do you bridge the gap between giving to charity and changing the world? I find that a lot of people go to charitable auctions or charitable events, and they bid on auction items, and they look at the keynote speaker, and they're sort of maybe a little bit envious of the person on stage because they want to be that person that's making that change. So I help motivate people to do that. And then I also speak to groups of women and men who are thinking about leaving their corporate career and going into more change-making work. And again, some people are starting nonprofits, and some people are starting, actually 75% of my clients right now are starting for-profit entities. So it's definitely not only the nonprofit world. And if you're interested in having me come speak with your group, let's definitely talk. I would love to do that. You can reach out to me at Kirsten@KirstenBunch.com. And you can also book a Calendly appointment right there on my schedule. And I'll send this out in a link after our webinar today, so you'll have that. All right, so if you'll bear with me for a couple more minutes, I just wanted to talk to you about transformative change, one of my favorite topics. So here's the question. Who wants to make big, powerful change? And I'm not talking a little change. I'm not talking helping a couple of people, but changing the game. And who wants to help their clients do this? Sandhya Jha founded the Oakland Peace Center, whose mission it is to create a peaceful and just Bay Area. And she and her many, many collaborators are changing Oakland's communities for the better. But here's the thing. She didn't do it alone, and she isn't doing it alone. She knew she couldn't do it on her own, and so she built a support community around her and kept pushing her idea forward in and outside of her community. And she researched what had been done in other cities, and she talked to so many people, and she accepted help, and she invested in her idea. And so here's what I'm saying, and this is kind of the message that I'd like you to hear, and the message that I'd like you to give to your clients. To make transformative change, you need to get help. You need to show up and get out there and talk about your idea. Talk to your, tell your clients, talk to them about their ideas. That's why that question in the beginning is so important. Like, if you had a magic wand, what would you do? Join a community of change makers. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, but try to make it better and invest in your idea. And these are the things that we do. Like in my Changemaker mentorship, we do this. We have a community of changemakers who are going out and investing in their idea and creating real change in their communities. And it is a powerful group of people. And listen, your clients can do this on their own, maybe, but most people won't, or they'll make costly mistakes along the way, either with their time or money. The easier way is to get help from a mentor, a community, get easy access to resources. This is this little story here is a quote from a client, story from a client of mine. So she came to me and she told me that she had incorporated a nonprofit a year ago. She had this idea, but no real plan. And she found herself completely lost when trying to get the idea off the ground, which is totally understandable. Like most of us don't know how to make this happen. So a year had gone by and she still just, she had talked to a couple of people, but she just had this really powerful idea. Like really, it wasn't even I'm not even saying it was like a really bad idea or anything. It was a really good idea. But she said, as a solo practitioner, I have no one to bounce ideas off. Give me a kick in the pants, ask the questions that will help push the stream forward. Because right now, it's just something on paper. So is she going to make change happen by sitting on her idea, not knowing how to get it off the ground? What is not having access to resources, a support system, and a guide really costing people? And I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I've just seen this happen. People with awesome ideas for how to address a problem in the world, and it doesn't go anywhere. And do you think your clients might be able to make greater change if they have someone by their side guiding and encouraging them? Do you see why this information I've given you today is valuable? Here's a few examples of women who are these are all women who are making powerful change in their communities. Desiree Attaway founded Dear Sister, is a founder of Dear Sister. And Desiree is propelling women of all definitions to find and use their unique voices and power. She started with simple Facebook posts to her community. And 2 years later, she has it's probably much more than 10,000 followers. I need to update that. And she started with the impact she wanted to have in the world. I was telling you, like, what's the impact you want to have in the world? And just keeps moving forward. Dana Ruggiero, she started the Climate Listening Project. And she started with a very small idea to start conversations about climate change, an issue she was really worried about. Now she's winning international awards for her work. She's winning. She's making films and winning awards for her work. This is one from somebody from my hometown. So Kathy O'Keefe had never run for office in her life. And in November, she won election to the Ringwood, New Jersey Town Council as a Democrat. And the council has been purely Republican for over a decade. And I'm not saying, focus on the Democrats or focus on the Republicans. I'm just saying that you can make change if you set your mind to it. And finally, Ava Karine Romero is making a film to show people that gender violence in her home country of Paraguay is severe and needs to end. She didn't know how to make a film when she started. She was an academic. But she used her knowledge of gender and partnered with a director, and she learned how to make a film. So we've covered a lot today. And here's the thing. I'm really excited that you spent the time to learn about how you can help your clients with their legacy and giving back, because this is really important work. And I'm excited that you can play your part in creating change in our communities. And I'm here to help you. If you got value out of this webinar today, let's talk about how I can help you use what you learned today with your clients, or how we can collaborate to help your clients move their world-changing ideas forward. Part of the work that I do and this is where I collaborate with financial advisors, is a lot of people ask me, well, I don't know if I can afford to do this or what I can afford or whatever. And so I like to partner with financial advisors who can speak to the financial planning of how you give back, and when you're going beyond just donating or volunteering. Like how do you figure out how much money you need, or well, you all are financial advisors, or most of you are, so I don't have to tell you that. So I am here to help you, and I am ready to help you, move your clients' ideas forward. So book a call with me. It's free. I'd love to talk to you. I love to talk to people, probably a little bit too much. And I'm not saying we're going to work together or not. But even if we don't decide to work together, I'll still give you ideas and encouragement to find ways to better serve your clients around these issues. And some of the people on this webinar who know me can attest that I've been doing this work for 20 years, and I create a ton of value for people who are trying to do good in this world. And I do it because I see and feel the poverty, the discrimination, the changing climate, and the potential for beauty in this world. And I have made it my mission to help you help others. And of course, this isn't for everyone. I get it. This is for you if you're serious about making change in your community, in the world. You're ready to solve your clients' problems and help them build their legacies. You're ready to bring this message to your clients and help them take action. And you're curious about how you can create your own legacy. Maybe some of you are thinking, what should I be doing? And this is not for you. Like I said, it's not for everybody, and that's totally cool. This is not for you if you're not interested in going beyond offering financial guidance. That makes sense. I understand that. Or you aren't serious about creating change in your clients and in your community. And you like to spend time, energy, and money trying to find answers on your own. That's fine. I totally get that too. I tend to do that also. But if you are curious about how you can add more value to your client relationships, so that they love you even more than they already do, and send more referrals your way, then book a call with me. It's free. Here's how you can do it. kirstenbunch.com/free call. You can also just send me an email at kirsten@kirstenbunch.com. So we can chat. And again, I'm launching my book. I am also booking for speaking engagements for the spring and summer. I'm filling up pretty quickly. I've got about five or six spots left up until June. So, if you're interested in having me come and speak to your clients or speak to your team, I'd love to do that. And there's a draft. It's still the draft cover of my book. I'm still deciding on the cover, which is kind of the best part of it, actually. It's pretty fun. So, and don't forget about to go on over to my site and grab your free bonuses. Like I said, you can use these with your clients. Feel free to distribute them. I'm totally fine with that. Get your issue mapper, skill shifter mini course, and 5 critical things to do before starting a nonprofit. If you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. And I will send you an email with these links to remind you. All right, so thank you. And it looks like we might have some questions. So let me just check the chat box here. 1 minute.